All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. If she be down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JayH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. I read an article about the Canadian Post. Canadian Post. The postal workers went on strike there. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the article, and then I'm going to tell you, give my opinion about some things we got going on here. So here's the facts that went on with the article that I read. There was a strike action by the postal workers where there was widespread job action halting on deliveries because of the proposed reforms by the government, closing post offices, ending door-to-door delivery in many places. They are currently going through a financial strain. The Canadian Post Office is experiencing major losses, a ton of debt, and there's a pressure to cut costs. Sound familiar? And the impact that they're having on public businesses is disruption of mail, delayed parcels. There's a ripple effect on the commerce department that they have. So yes, they go through a similar situation that obviously we've been going through for a long time. Now, I read somebody that left a comment and said, you know what, Jay, what if we went to 5-day delivery? We need to go to 5-day delivery. We need to go to 5-day delivery. So I thought about it, and you know me, I'm going to take somebody's comment and try to expand off of it, because if one person said it, and I've seen it said before, I'm going to give my opinion behind it. So let me get this straight before anybody runs to the comments. This is a what if. It is all hypothetical. It is not official. This is not in motion right now. And I am not gaslighting. I'm not fear-mongering. I am just talking about something that has been floated before, and it could be floated again. It was definitely floated back in 2013. The Postmaster General back then came flat out and said, we are going to 5-day delivery. The plan was no more letters or flats on Saturdays, but still running parcels. Congress immediately shut it down, but the idea, it never really died. It is still out there. They're in some reports. They do talk about it in the boardrooms, and there are currently whispers. And depending on who's running Congress, depending on the administration that we have or we will have, the little what if could be, guess what's happening now? So let's try to talk about why. First class mail, which has always been the moneymaker of the Postal Service for decades, it has been dropping substantially. There are very few people mailing letters the way they used to be. Bills, checks, statements, birthday cards, everything's gone digital. So before I continue, I ask that every one of you take, and if you have a bill, just put it back in the prepaid envelope and just mail it back. That's it. That's all you got to do. But our parcels are booming. Amazon, UPS, FedEx, DHL, they all eat the same pie that we're trying to get into. We are still the last mile, but the margin is getting tighter. The competition is getting tighter. Amazon on some other stuff right now. And the leadership is under the pressure to save money. New Postmaster General has his whole mindset is to save money and do better with customer relations. So what is the easiest lever for them to pull? Cut a delivery day. That will save a couple of $1 billion. That is the sales pitch that they currently use. And what it would look like, it would be Monday through Friday, regular delivery, letters and packages like normal. And Saturday, it would be parcels only, priority mail, Amazon, meds, Puffle, stuff that people will fuss about if it's late. Sunday, the same as Saturday, packages only. Now, letters and flats would go back or be sitting until Monday. That's what they were floating. That's the model. And why it could come back, and you're probably like, Jay, why even bring this up? Didn't Congress already kill it? Yes, but things change. Look at the numbers. Right now, USPS has about 640,000 employees. We used to be closer to 700,000, 800,000. There was a point where we had over 900,000 people. And a lot of people are retirement eligible. They're at the age. So as well as I know, 20% of the people that are currently working for the post office can just literally walk out right now. And half of our workforce could retire within the next decade. At your station, there are some people there that have been there way too long and they could retire. Just think about it. Within the next 10 years, there's more. So, yes, the cuts get easier. That's called attrition, natural attrition. The cuts get easier when people are already leaving and they don't have to fire people. And they do not have to backfill the spots, fill those empty spaces. They are doing that now. Attrition, natural attrition does the dirty work for you. And then you have the political angle. Every administration always talks about efficiency. You have Musk and the Doge or whatever it is a perfect example. Somebody that gets into Washington, no matter what political party, is always pushing cut waste, save billions. And there could be a bill that eventually says cut Saturday letters, save $2 to $3 billion. And they could definitely sneak that through Congress if the votes line up. That is a lot easier and more feasible than the other stuff that they were trying to push, right? So what happens if Saturday letters are gone? The CCAs, the non-career people, the weekend cover carriers or whatever you want to call them, their hours would get slashed. Saturday used to be, an overtime day for the way their carrier schedule is weird, but it's gone now. The full-time carriers would still deliver the packages, but with no flats. The routes would get lighter. There'd be less work, and there would be less need for backfill. It does not just affect carriers, though. The clerks at the plants would not need to run full scale on Saturday anymore, or Friday night into Saturday. The letter sorting machines would sit pretty much idle. It saves money. Those machines cost a lot of money to run. The cancellation letters, the sorting, the handling, it's cut back. So whole shifts would disappear. They do that now. I know in my plant, they'll hold stuff or they'll send it down to another facility because they don't want to run certain things when the weekend comes. How's it affect the truck drivers? Well, logistics. Right now, trucks roll consistently to move letters and packages. You take the letters away and you got a chunk of Saturday work. I know that we put GPCs full of letters. Some of y'all call them APCs. We call them GPCs. Full. Yes, it may be more on Monday, but that's when everybody comes in. And that would equate to fewer trips from the plants to the stations and less letter mail to move. How about the supervisors? The ones there's a supervisor thing where they have a floater supervisor, basically like a T6 for supervisors now. I forgot the name of it. But if there's fewer moving parts on Saturday, that means they need less supervisors. The weekend floaters, their numbers get trimmed. And then non-career employees are always the first one to get hit. That Saturday work that used to, give the extra money, it's gone. And attrition and the cuts wipe them out the fastest. I'm just giving you, again, this is just what ifs. So if you break down the numbers, if you remove 1 day of letter delivery, that's 1/6 of the letter workload. That's about 16, maybe 17% of letter operations. Letters and flats are shrinking, but they still represent about, 30% of the workload, give or take. And if you cut Saturday letters and you slash maybe 5 to 8% of the total workforce demand, you do the math on that. You got 640,000 employees. That's about freaking 30,000 to 50,000 jobs that could disappear in the long term. And it may seem drastic, and maybe it's only 2 to 4% because some of it gets absorbed through overtime cuts or attrition. But even then, you're looking at 13,000, give or take, 13,000 to maybe 25,000 jobs. That's not small. That's not background noise. That's people's lives. Again, when I tell people, hey, they're cutting back. They do this every few years where they offer the buyouts, 10,000 people here, 10,000 people there. And I hate talking about the politics, but the politics does play into this. Rural communities they're gonna cry, because if you touch their Saturday delivery that they rely on, they're gonna lose their shit. The seniors, the vets, the disabled people, the same thing. They're going to fight. But when you're up in DC, it just takes one Congress, one administration, and they'll put it out there like they're saving taxpayer dollars. That's how they put it out there. And if one rider gets pulled from, I ain't talking about this stuff, appropriations bill, suddenly Postal Service is told deliver 6 days of packages, 5 days of letters. That's what'll happen. And is it really going to hurt a lot? It will. So, but let's talk reality. The reason it hasn't happened already is that Congress mandated 6-day delivery, and it was a mandate from back in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. It keeps getting renewed, and it's renewed because of the public backlash. Nobody wants less service, especially if the public believes they're getting the service for free. Politically, it is definitely risky. Cut mails before elections, they're gonna lose their shit. But the fact it hasn't happened yet does not mean it will not happen. So I guess we'll talk about the bottom line. The bottom line is, this is simply a what if. It is definitely not happening right now, but it is not a fantasy either. It was announced one time, and it could definitely be announced again. And if it ever does, it'll ripple through every single craft at the Postal Service. Carriers, the clerks, the truck drivers, supervisors, non-career employees, every single person will feel it. And the irony, a lot of postal workers themselves already call letter mail irrelevant. And your managers hear that. Politicians hear that. And if they ever decide to make cuts, letters are going to be the first ones on the chopping block. So yes, you could put this one under your watch list for later. It is not guaranteed, but it's definitely not impossible. And again, it only takes one Congress looking at, hey, if we do this, we save money. They score points on saving money, and we'll be looking at a 5-day letter world. Parcels running weekends, and tens of thousands of jobs vanish in the shuffle. But this is all a what if, and this is all my opinion. But history says, like this can happen. You ain't gotta like how I deliver my message. You ain't gotta like my opinion. But at the end of the day, all I hear is talk. And I don't sweat that. Y'all ain't gotta like me either. I respect that. This is JayH. And I'm out.
All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. If she be down the ride, I bet that.